Now we're going to take a look at how to add layers, how to rename them, how to move them around, and how to copy them. You can have many more layers. You can have so many layers that they just completely scroll off of the screen, and you need to use those arrows buttons like I indicated before, which you can see in the thumbnails down here. Because of that, you may want to name your layers. By default, they come out, they start out as being an A layer and a BG layer, and as you add layers on, they're going to stack up, being layer B, C, D, E. They're automatically named. If you want to name it yourself, all you need to do is double click on the name of the layer, and then a little window is going to pop up, and I'm going to type in the name dog, and now it's changed, and of course that same layer name has been changed in the different view, and it's also changed down here too. You can right click on a layer, and then you have the option to rename the layer there too. So there's often a few different ways that you can do it. So instead of BG, I'm going to call it background, and I'll press OK. And so now I have the layers there. Sometimes you may want to keep your names short so that they don't scroll on too big. I know that when I've imported images sometimes that my original images have such long names that I can only see a couple layers at a time. So you can change those very easily anytime. So let's see how we're going to add layers. There's a number of different ways to do this, and just use whichever one you find most helpful. So in this case, I'll start with, go over to the Layer tab, right click, and then you can choose between a new vector layer or a new bitmap layer. So I'm just going to pick vector, and there it is. It popped up with the letter A. There's nothing drawn on it, and that is why these eyes are closed, but they're still visible. So let me show you the difference. The dog currently is selected and he's visible. If I hide him by clicking the eyes are grayed out. And now I click them again. Now these eyes, however, are not grayed out, but they're also not open either. And all that means is that nothing's been drawn on this layer yet. The layer is visible, but nothing's been drawn yet. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to select that layer to draw in, which is always the first step when you want to draw on something. Select that layer, and now I'm just going to draw on it. And now, as soon as I've drawn on it, those little eyes appear, and that just indicates that there's artwork on that layer too. We can continue to add layers in a few different ways, and as we do, they're going to continue to stack up on top of whichever layer is currently selected. So another way to add a new layer is to pop out, this little tabs pop out, and you can go down here to the buttons where you can add a vector layer or a bitmap layer, or to duplicate a selected layer or delete a selected layer. In this case, just for fun, I will click a bitmap layer. So I'm going to add that. It has named it B, and now it has the distinctive mountains and moon image that indicate that it's a bitmap layer, as opposed to the triangle, circle, and square that indicate a vector layer. I'll come over to the Layers tab, right click on here, and once again I could choose New Vector Layer. I'm going to click on it. It adds a new vector layer on top. It has named it sequentially, and if that weren't enough, there are some buttons on here where you can add a vector layer, bitmap layer, or duplicate selected layers. There's a number of different ways. If that weren't enough, you can go up to the Layer menu and then click New and slide over to vector layer or a bitmap layer.